It's hard to find a friendship that lasts through all the changes we go through in life. Careers, relationships, family issues, kids, grief, success, failures, distance. But every now and again, you find one that keeps adapting and keeps going instead of breaking apart. First guest on Weathering It, and I'm very happy that he's my first guest. I feel weird like saying guest. It's my best friend, Brent Shepherd. 30 years we've been friends. Like
1996.
That's
Is that 30?
30 years, 3 decades. Brent has been a mainstay, a constant in my life through all the ups and downs and everything. And thanks for coming on and sharing a little bit.
I'm happy to be here, thrilled to be here.
We met, as you just mentioned, in 1996. My first radio job, CJVR in Melfort, Saskatchewan. You'd been there for about 5 years. And yeah, we just naturally blossomed into this 30-year friendship.
It's crazy if you think about it. So back then I would have been in my late 20s, and you're about a few years.
I was 19. Yeah.
And we talk about starting off in a career, and I remember starting my career in broadcasting, and which was in Lethbridge, Alberta, and being the intern and having to get coffee and wash the vehicle. And I thought, that's no way for an intern to start. And I said, after that experience, I'm going to treat interns as people and get them doing what they should be doing, which is learning about broadcasting, which is why I brought you in and I had you actually do an assignment.
Yeah, and the assignment was your dry cleaning. Doing the laundry. No, I don't really recall this, but it was a story for the newsroom.
Yeah, I can't remember at the time if gas prices were spiking or going down, and I thought, well, here's what I'd like you to do, Warren. Call around to gas stations in Melfort, Tisdale, Nipawin. What are the gas prices? And we'll pull together a little story just to tell people, here are the gas prices locally, here's where we are, and it was just a chance to kind of get you to dip your toe in the water to do actual work instead of gopher jobs.
Yeah. Do you remember when our relationship went from just being at work to more friendship?
Yeah. So back then, as opposed to right now, back then I enjoyed going out, hanging around people, doing things. I'm not sounding like I'm a shut-in now in a mountain cave, but I'm like, oh, we had a big snowstorm the night before or the morning of, and I knew you lived right beside.
Yeah, we were neighbors. You lived in an apartment building. I was in this little fourplex right next door.
And I thought, oh, it's kind of crappy weather. I don't feel like kind of sitting around watching TV. Warren lives next door, I think, and I think I know which suite it is. So I'm just going to go over and hang out. So what I did, I'll let you tell the story.
No, tell.
So there was all this snow, and I thought, well, is it going to be weird for me to knock on his door and go, hey, how's it going? Which, I guess I could do, but I'm like, let's make this memorable. So I picked up a snowball and I wailed it at your window, and just to see what would happen. And I remember you standing up, looking outside, looking like you're ready to wail on punks that are standing. I had no idea what happened. It was this loud thud on my patio window. And yeah, I thought it was a bunch of kids. And I'm like, hey, and you're like, is that Brent? So you invited me in and we just kind of hung out. Yeah. And here we are 30 years later hanging out.
Yeah, and so many things that, over time, like movies and sports, and then, you start with those. It's like how you start, dating somebody or lead to marriage or whatever, but you start with those surface things and then you realize how much more you have in common, and it gets deeper and deeper and longer and all those things. I think one of the things that kind of bonded us too, and we were just chatting to maybe, it's not a reflection on the town, but it kind of is. Small town Saskatchewan can be cliquey. The radio people really bonded because we weren't really welcomed with open arms by all of the community. A lot of the community did, but socially, we always felt like we were on just the outside, just on the periphery.
Yeah, I'm not sure cliquey is the right word. People grow up in a small town and they have their friends and they have their family. And I came to Melfort, I grew up in Regina, which is a bigger, a city. And I came to this, which is Melford's, what, about 5,000 people. And I felt too, I'm like, I'm not really meeting locals. For some reason, I'm not meeting like the local people. But I did, people at the radio station. I'm like, I got to make an effort to like meet friends at the radio station so I have somebody to talk to and hang out with, which is why I think people from that era that we worked there, we're still really close with each other and tight, that we connect still via social media. And whenever I see someone from the radio station that's online, I will say, hey, and they're like, oh my God, Brent, how's it going? Do you remember, and then you talk a little bit. And it's funny how the radio station people of that era in that time from that community all managed to band together really tightly. And of course, we did meet people from the community and we dated people in the community. Sure. But it was just, I felt it brought us closer working in the radio station, interacting with each other. Yeah,
we were all kind of from somewhere else. So that's how it began 30 years ago. Let's see how well we know each other. We're going to do a little game here and see how well Brent and I know each other, just like, I guess, the newlywed game or whatever it would be called, except it's just the newly buddy game, but old buddies.
Old buddies.
All right, 30 years of friendship. We should know each other fairly well at this point, right? We should know the details.
We'll see if I've been paying attention.
So we're going to ask each other the questions. We've written them down on cards. We'll see how well we do. Okay, I'm going to start with favorite band. Brent's favorite band is Iron Maiden.
Oh, close. That's a top 3, but it's Metallica.
All right. So fail already. Okay, my favorite band would be... Yeah, it's Motley Crue. It's Motley Crue. Yeah.
Do you have all of their albums?
I don't have all their albums. I had all their cassettes and all the CDs. I'm working on all the albums.
Great.
All right. So, favorite movie for Brent? This was a tough one too. We're both movie geeks.
Yeah.
It's so hard to nail down just one. So I've nailed it down to 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
Goodfellas.
Oh my God.
Or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Goodfellas. That's right. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood I enjoy, but I would say probably American Graffiti or Jaws.
Oh yeah, you're American Graffiti. That's right. Yeah, there's our age difference.
Yes.
Because that wasn't really on my radar.
Yeah. Goodfellas is always highly rewatchable.
Okay.
All right, so here's...
my favorite movie. Training Day. Oh!
Training Day, or what did I write? It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, so It's a Wonderful Life, I watch every Christmas. I have it on DVD. I watch it on every Christmas Eve, and I have since I was like 12. Honestly, when I looked at this and I thought about rewatchability, The Departed.
Oh, okay, yeah. And because you talk about it a lot.
Yeah, so. Well, you and I always converse. But I mean, Training Day, so what's the story behind us in Training Day?
So I managed, Training Day is a fantastic movie.
Yes.
And I managed to, I think, was it you or me first got it at a store? Oh, I got Training Day DVD for $8.99. And then the next day, I got it for $6.99. Yeah. And I think one of us misplaced it. Oh, I got Training Day for $3.99, which is just this backwards, ridiculous contest because we ended up spending more money anyway.
Yeah. Over the price. Okay. Least favorite food for Brent, and I think I've nailed this one. It's canned mushrooms.
100%.
Canned mushrooms, yeah.
My childhood encapsulated canned mushrooms. And yours?
Yeah, nailed it. Onions. Yep. Hate onions. Cannot stand them in anything disgusting.
Not
vile.
Even like deep, like fried?
No.
Okay.
No. My mom used to try to hide onions in hamburgers, right, without telling me. And I'd be like, you put onions in there. And she's like, you can't even taste them. I'm like, well, then how did I know they were in here? All right, stupid. All right. Biggest pet peeve, which is tough. So biggest pet peeve for Brent, I think this might be a little bit a newer term, but I feel it probably goes main character syndrome.
Oh,
is that your biggest pet peeve when people have main character syndrome? We talk about that a lot.
I was thinking about what could my pet. There's little annoyances that I have would be people that show up late, spelling and grammar, which is a weird thing.
Yeah, because you're a communications professional.
But oh my God, I love that. I love that. Okay. I'm gonna file that away.
Okay, my biggest pet peeve: people bailing. Yeah, Yeah, I do hate paper bailing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's inconsideration.
Yeah.
And that would fall under that thing.
Yeah.
I hate inconsiderate people.
Yeah, where it's like something's set up and last minute people pull the chute. And you're like, well, thanks.
Like the date I had scheduled for last night with a woman, we'd set it up on Wednesday. We're filming this on Sunday. And yesterday afternoon, I had to reach out and be like, so obviously you're not interested. I haven't heard from you. All I needed was I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh yeah, I went out on a date and it went well and I want to explore it. Great. But
Probably
again,
should've.
inconsiderate.
Yeah.
All right. Celebrity crush.
Yeah.
Brent's celebrity crush. Deborah Harry. Debbie Harry.
Debbie Harry. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I
Right?
love Debbie Harry
Yeah,
of
you
Blondie.
did.
So a close second, and I'll tell you this story. Mom said when I was a kid, playing around the house, whenever the Sonny and Cher show would come on TV, whenever Cher was on screen, I would drop what I was doing and plop down in front of the TV and just
Ooh.
stare.
Nice.
And I always found that to be an amusing story.
You're not young enough for her, though. You never have been. Well, maybe at that age you were. That's so wrong. That's not
All right.
right. Okay, my celebrity crush. Yeah, Sandra Bullock. Sandy Bullock. Like ever since I saw her in Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Her smile, her eyes, like everything about her. And she still looks so beautiful.
I think she could read the phone book and you would
I would
ask her out.
take my money. Take my money, please. All right. First real job.
Yep.
Warehouse worker.
Yes, unloading produce trucks in Regina.
yeah.
So Safeway was the company, and I was in grade 10, and I needed to save up money for post-secondary education, and it paid $16 an hour.
Nice.
I worked Saturdays and Sundays from 3 to 11, and it was me and a bunch of guys in their 40s. And I'll tell you a story. Everything was on pallets, which was simple. Bananas weren't. So the rookie, when the banana truck came in, I had to unload the truck all by myself without pallets, and it took my whole 8-hour shift. And I went home, and my mom's like, "It smells like bananas," and I think I just fell asleep at the kitchen table. I was just exhausted. But I got in with the team. You know, who's this young high school punk coming to work here? But after that,
And you haven't eaten a banana since. No, I hate bananas. Okay. My first job.
I had to think about this.
Okay.
I put groceries.
Yeah, I was delivering groceries in my hometown.
I couldn't remember if it was newspaper delivery or grocery delivery.
Yeah,
And
that would be my first real job. And one of the sweet old ladies used to pay me with baking, which was amazing. And my Dito's neighbor, he lost his sight, so he would just sign the check and then I'd fill it out. But I made sure he was always my last delivery. Probably shouldn't tell this story because I was only 16. But then he would always, we'd have a glass of whiskey.
Oh, goodness me.
That was my tip. Glass of whiskey.
How old were you?
16. That's small town Saskatchewan. That's what we did. All right. These are a little bit deeper. Biggest strength for Brent is constant. You're the constant. You're always stable. Everything's steady. Everything's the same. You're the constant.
I put you're passionate.
Yeah.
You get fired up. I love people that get fired up about things, and you are passionate and you get excited about pretty much everything, and that's such a great quality to have.
Nice. All right. Biggest flaw. I was gonna say helping you move. Brent is a terrible mover. Don't ever ask Brent to help you move. The last time I moved, Brent's response was,
I'm 50 years old.
And your response was, hire movers, damn it. But your biggest flaw is you love living in your comfort zone.
Oh,
and I don't mean it as a big flaw.
No.
Is that sometimes we have to push you out of your comfort zone a little
and
bit.
that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Your biggest flaw is the same as your strength.
My passion.
Your passion, because sometimes I think it maybe gets you into trouble.
Yeah.
And you have over the years, I've noticed you're a more mature person, but in the past, I would not be wrong to say you might fly off the handle.
Yep.
And that's because of passion.
Yep.
So your biggest strength can be your biggest flaw.
I've made some bad decisions due to passion. And yes, I have flown off the handle for sure. Especially on the golf course. All right. What stresses Brent out the most? It's Doctor visits.
Oh yeah.
Doctor visits. When you had the laser eye surgery,
Yeah,
and you used to stress about every visit to the doctor.
I've had glasses since I was in grade 7, and I went to the eye doc, and oh, you have a cataract. Would you like to get it removed? And I was like, sure. And that's very not me. So, and again, it was painless. My wife dropped me off at the clinic at 10 after 8. I was home by 9:30 in the morning, and it was the best thing, to be honest, that ever did. And I still, for whatever reason, I think it's just bad experiences from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
How things have changed from when you were younger in terms of how things are today. And I shouldn't be afraid of it, but here we are.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
What stresses Warren out the most?
Yeah. Job stuff.
Job stuff.
Yeah. Career always has. And I think the biggest part of it is because it's been my main focus over most of my adult life.
Yeah.
Is I'm very driven career-wise. So yeah, it does stress me out. And this job especially that I do now, yeah, definitely stresses me out. All right. What's Brent best at hiding? Frustration.
Oh yeah.
I can never tell if you're bothered, if you're frustrated, or anything. I can, like, maybe a little bit, maybe with the Leafs.
Yeah.
But overall, you hide that so well.
People are watching this going, the Leafs? Delete.
Yeah, I would.
What is Warren best at hiding? I wrote crystal meth use, but then I was like, oh wait. You're upfront about everything. You're upfront. This is kind of one of the things I like about you. You can't hide anything. There's not much about you that I do not know. There's not much about you that I do not know. You are upfront about everything. So that was kind of tough for me to answer.
I'm an open book. Nice. Happiest phase of Brent's life. And I said your Victoria move. The move here to Victoria and the island, I would say, made you the happiest. And I noticed that change pretty instantly.
When I first moved out here, in subsequent years, my dad said, I give him 2 months. And then they came out for a visit, and my dad's like, no offense, Brent, but don't move back. And you're probably right. They were right. So, happiest phase of Warren's life. I wrote, when you first moved to Saskatoon, and when you first moved to Victoria. Similar reasons. It was just change of scenery. I know when you got out of Melfort, it was time to go. And when we hung out in Saskatoon, you were in, that was those are fun times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Warren's like, he's in his groove. And similar to Victoria.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. All right, hardest phase. This one I had trouble with because you're closed off, and I really, I really struggle with this, but I remember when you left media and you were making a transition just career-wise. Yeah. You ended up living with your brother and his family for a little bit. And I think that was the time I saw you maybe just be a little bit lost or unsure of the next moves. And I'd never really seen that with you before.
Because I'd done it for 12 or 13 years. And I just felt it was time for a change. And when I made the change, which subsequently was the best decision, but at the time I thought, am I doing the right thing here? So
Should that be right?
I get 100% what you're saying. Yeah.
Nice.
I would say your last relationship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What I saw you going through in your last relationship, man, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough on you. Still kind of is a bit, but I would say that was just the conversations we had and the things you'd tell me about what was going on. I'd be like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. That's dead on. That's 100%. All right. What did Brent resist hearing but needed to? This is where our dynamic, I'm kind of the little brother here, so I don't know if I really give you a lot of advice or anything like that, but you need to hear that the Leafs aren't a good team. They're just not. They're just not a good hockey team, bro.
People say I was hypnotized by Hockey Night in Canada growing up. But why do I cheer for the Toronto Maple Leafs? But it's because my grandpa did, and it was either them or Montreal growing up. And I know you're a little younger. That's when Edmonton kind of started being shown more on TV. But that's the team, man. Yeah. So, what did Warren resist hearing but needed to? And again, time to end your last relationship.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough hearing. Maybe,
Yeah, it was, and you weren't the only one. There was a lot of people that said, you got to get out, man. And it was, when you're dealing with somebody that you love with an addiction, if you have a lot of guilt about being like, I'm out, like you're on your own. So, it definitely stretched it out a little bit too long. All right, what changed Brent the most? This one didn't take me too long once I sat down and thought about it, but it's your marriage. And hi, Lisa.
Yeah.
Marriage really changed you for the better. It really softened you a little bit. And Lisa's such an amazing person as well. You guys work well off each other. And I'm just so happy to get to know her more since I've moved here and built that relationship too.
The trick is that she likes sports.
Yeah.
I like sports. She actually tells me to play video games. Brent, why aren't you playing video games? And we have similar, of course, we're not, she has her things, I have my things,
Yeah.
but it's a great relationship.
You're individuals, but a good relationship.
You know, I wrote something down, but I may change it. I said what changed you the most was your move here, but I think what changed you was Andy. I think getting Andy in your life. So Andy was at my
dog Andy.
My wife's ex-sister-in-law. Carla had this dog. She fosters animals, and this dog was there one day, and she came over. I'm like, holy cow, this is the dog for Warren. And I took a picture and sent it, and it worked out really well. And I think Andy has helped you get through some tough things.
Yeah.
And help you, you know, because of course having a dog is a great thing because you go out on walks and everything, and it's good for your mental health. But this is the thing you talk about the most is your dog, Andy.
Yeah, she's taught me a lot. So, hey, we did pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
You can't see her, but my dog Andy is sitting right here. Brent actually helped me adopt Andy. We can get into that as well. One of the things that, for me, that makes our relationship and our friendship so special is that I don't have a relationship with my brother, my older brother. We have no relationship whatsoever. That's been a long time thing. It just never clicked. And that's something, you filled that void for me. You became my brother, and that's something I really appreciate. That's something that's really special to me. And that's something that I'll always protect. And maybe that's why, you know, I've never let this one drop as far as our friendship, because you really did plop right into that void and help me with that.
Yeah, it's really, it's unfortunate. I know families have their issues. When you talk about your relationship with your brother and how it's just, you're really your siblings, blood only.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't really talk. When I hear stories about when you do talk, it's kind of yelly.
It's not good.
And shouty.
It's not positive.
And that sucks, man.
Yeah,
it sucks. And that I can be some sort of a mentor influence on your life in a positive way, I assume. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's you're the guy that I know that I can go to. I don't always, but you have been that guy where I'm like, Christ, Brent, a minute. Or like, you know, it's not just always bad stuff either. It's celebrating the victories and the highs. And, you know, it's like you're my cheerleader and I'm that for you. And it's something that's really special because we are from that generation too, where, you know, we grew up, our parents didn't do therapy or talk or really, you know, like, I don't know, are your parents, you know, and I know your parents well, I know your family well, like I've lived with your brother also and his family, but did they ever do like, oh, I love you?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't think, not by words, but by deeds.
Yeah.
Things they do to help along the way. Yeah, of course, as I'm older now, I hear, you know, mom and dad say, you know, hey, love you. How's it going? We love you. But growing up as kids, that's just that generation. Didn't really hear it. It didn't, for me anyways, that was not a thing I concerned myself with.
Agree,
I knew my parents loved me. I knew my parents loved me just by the deeds they did and how we interacted together. I never heard that term, but again, that was just how it was back then. Nobody really...
And you're a product of your environment, right? Like, and that's the way I was with my parents too. Like, I knew that they loved me. I didn't need them to say it. Like you said, they showed it. But I remember a friend, a coworker, way back when in Saskatoon. She was like, "Your parents have never said I love you to you?" Mm-hmm. And she's like, "We say it every day." And it was so weird for her. And I'm like, okay, but your situation would be weird for me. Like if my parents all of a sudden started doing that, that would be weird. So we didn't need it.
But I am glad to be in that role, of course, as your friend, but to be there as the sounding board, to hear you out, to maybe offer insane advice on things. Glad to be around in your life for that.
Yeah, and vice versa. I mean, I don't know if I offer you the same, but I think we have that back and forth. We have that symbiotic friendship that, you're a little bit more internal.
Yep.
I'm a lot more external. But I also, if we talk about things we admire in each other, that's something I admire in you. You're very constant, and you're very, I know, like, I've never seen Brent lose his shit. I've never once seen you lose your shit.
That's how I am. I'm calm. Of course, I get upset about things.
Sure.
And, I get mad about things. And I've been around people too that lose their shit at work. And I'm like, it's a weird thing for me to see. And again, I get upset about stuff, but that's just how I am. I'm kind of calm, cool, collected. Sometimes it's like, the duck where, it's calm up top. You're given underneath. But what I do appreciate about you, and if I use the word envious, is how you're more spontaneous. You tend to wear your emotions on your sleeve. You get fired up about, of course, I get fired up about stuff, but you get really fired up about stuff. You dive in, you're spontaneous. I kind of am more calculated. And I think maybe that works well in our friend relationship too, is it's like Oscar and Felix, right? Like from The Odd Couple. One person's ready to go and the other person's, let's think about it. And I kind of wish sometimes I was a little more spontaneous where I could say, okay, let's go do this instead of just, I just kind of want to hang around and do nothing.
Yeah, you're a comfort zone guy. You love your comfort zone. And your brother's like that too. Your brother Brian, that's who I lived with for a little while in Okotoks, but you kind of have to be pushed a little bit. And it's not that you're like, running back and hanging on to the door jamb, but you have to be pushed a little bit. And then once you're out, you're fine.
Yeah, it's like going to parties. The one thing I know that you are really good at is hosting a party. You will have people over, you will interact with people, you make sure people are having a good time. If I come to the party, I'm like, I don't want to say I'm dreading it, but I'm like, oh God, okay, 2 hours to the party, 1 hour, let's go. And then when I'm here and I'm meeting people, it's great. And then when I go home, like, I had a good time. So that's why I'm thinking in this past couple of years, at least for me and my wife, got to do more stuff. So we went to The Offspring, went to go see Megadeth, going to AC/DC, going to see plays more. We have a dog we've had now for the past year, which gets us out more and doing things. And, since the pandemic, I think it's been a societal issue of people just kind of, and social media plays a role in too. You'd much rather sit at home and scroll through Instagram. I do that, and I'm like, okay, can't do that. And I wish more people would get out and do things and be more in the community. And I've been making a big effort just to try to be more out there.
Yeah, because that's our childhood, and I said it in one of my first episodes, that we grew up in an analog world.
Yeah.
And then our adulthood was more digital, right?
Yeah.
And the digital's really taken over. And now you see younger people where they really live in that digital world. I think it's Tom Hardy that has a quote about, it's being alone can be addictive, right? And I know that. Like, I've spent a lot of time alone over the last couple of years, and you're like, you know what? I just like my little cocoon, and I like my time to myself, and I know what to expect, and I know what it is. There's no surprises, right? And it's calm, and it's just, silent, and that can be something that you really have to force yourself out of sometimes.
And you do a good job of that. And I often think to myself, I wish I could be more like Warren in terms of just getting out there, being out there, and doing more things out there.
See, and it's funny because, you make me realize how sometimes I let my emotions control my actions, or maybe I go to them too quickly, where I'm just like, and I love that. And that's why I think we do get along so well, is because you're able to be like, Warren, well, hang on a second. This maybe it's not what you're thinking. Yeah. Maybe it's this instead. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I've really the last several years been able to use your voice in my head a little bit more and be like, hang on a second. Maybe it's not what you think it is.
And you're good at, Brent, the rod up your ass has a rod up its ass. Let's get out and go for nachos or something. So.
Yeah, for sure. When you look back on the 30 years that we've known each other, I'll ask this to you, and then vice versa. But what's the biggest change you've seen?
In me or you?
In me, and then I'll answer you.
Okay. I would say, yeah, you've touched on it. And of course, everyone's like this. I think back when we were in our 20s, it was continually going out, for lack of a better term, partying, maybe making decisions that weren't in the best interest of everybody. And you get more mature.
Yeah.
I see a very mature, and this may shock you, you are very thoughtful at times. You're very thoughtful at times. Mature, thoughtful Warren now in his 40s. That didn't exist maybe, even 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. That's, a lot more selfish for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Less selfish.
Yeah. Now,
Not selfish, but self-ish, hyphenated. So as for me too, I like who I am. I should probably get out there more. In my 20s, I felt I was a little bit more, you worry about more what people think about you. Am I concerned this or that? And I'm happy now, of course you care about what people think, but also I really don't give a shit what people think either.
That's something with you. I don't think I've ever seen you really give a shit. Other than in a good way, in the best way possible. Other than the people you care about and the people that you that are in your life. The outside noise never really got to you whatsoever. I think the biggest change with you I've seen is I think Lisa, your wonderful wife, has brought out the best version of you.
Thanks,
the softer side of Brent. There's just those there's times where I'm like, I see a little bit of softness there, a little gooey Brent every now and again.
Yeah, I think back on past relationships, and that might be another video in itself. But
yeah, we could do that.
Because I've been with Lisa since 2010, 16 years, and of course we're good with each other, but that's a very good point. I think about women I've dated in the past, and maybe that kind of wasn't there. Maybe standoffish isn't the word, but
guarded.
You're kind of in, but guard comes down a little bit when you're in a long-term relationship with someone, and she manages to bring that out of me, which is, I love it.
We're from the generation, as we just mentioned, our parents didn't really share emotions or anything like that, and not that it was a bad thing, but I'm obviously a big therapy guy. I've done therapy for years. I've done different kinds of therapy. You have never done it.
I've never really felt the need for therapy. Like I said, I'm happy with who I am and how things go. I've never really struggled with mental health issues. Of course, we all go through it.
Yeah.
I know, when COVID started, I knew right then, I'm like, this may be a problem for people, which is why I started, I have to find things to do, which is why I kind of started my YouTube food channel, which was just doing little recipes to keep my mind occupied. And that helped a lot.
So before that though, so that would be a form of therapy for you. But I mean, let's be honest. We all run into troublesome times and whether it's career relationships or what have you. What in the past had you gone to? How did you work your way through stuff?
Music.
Yeah.
I just listen to music. I don't, of course people will compartmentalize. I tend to do that on occasion. And of course, when you go through bad times, you go through it. Being here in Victoria on the West Coast, I find, is helpful. We grew up in the prairies again, and you referenced this a lot, where people, I don't want to get into trouble. People keep to themselves. Of course, there's really great people, but our generation was keep to yourself, don't talk about things. And I felt out here a good therapy for me is just being next to the ocean. When you're going through it, I've been here since 2004, 2005. I felt if things, God, that's a bad day or this is a bad thing, I would take a crossword puzzle book and go to the ocean on Dallas Road and sit at a bench and just kind of do that and look out into the ocean. I find that plus music, and nowadays it's just doing food videos helps me through things.
Yeah, the nature here is soul feeding. I find that too, and my ex as well. We both really found that, if you had one of those days, you could just go out, do a hike, just take in the beauty, the nature here, the sounds. There's a sound and the smells here. I live close to the ocean. It's literally right there. And when Brent was here, when he arrived, he was like, oh man, you can really smell it here.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing too. Those are just little things that give you that boost?
It's being on the West Coast it's not for everybody, but I find it's a good mental health. It's good for your mental health 100%. Being close to the water, at least for me.
So you mentioned Brent's Bistro.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that. This was when you really started diving into this. This was something that kind of surprised me. I didn't know you had that drive to really get into cooking and dude, like you've done so much. Like I remember the first time you invited me when I moved here, and you invited me over for a bite, and you're like, I'm gonna do the sous vide. I'm like, what the hell is it? What's sous vide? What I didn't even know what it was, and you were like, yeah, I'm just gonna sous vide this thing.
Yeah, I know those words, but not in the order of the sentence you're using them. Way back when I first moved away from home in broadcasting, a lot of what I ate was hot dogs and macaroni because the hours may be long, but at least the pay sucks.
Yeah, that's terrible. You couldn't afford much else.
But I made a conscious decision at some point I can't eat like this forever. So little bits here and there, I'd try little recipes, try to bring it up a notch. When I moved from Melfort to Regina to work, that's where kind of a little bit more, I'm like, okay, making a little more money, I can afford to do a little bit more. And then out here is when it really started picking up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try making bread. I'm gonna try sous videing pork chops or steaks. I'm gonna grill a little bit more. What are the intricacies of grilling, of these recipes? And then I had a YouTube channel, but I'd upload funny thing that my dog does, or I'm at Disneyland on a ride, this is funny. But I thought, what if I just focused on making things? And I did a few long form videos, which were good. And then a lot of people don't like them, but I do, is the shorts format, fast cuts, start here, end here, out in 16 seconds. And then I felt it picking up. And then I'd get comments, and then I get subscriptions. And I remember my goal was 1,000 subscribers. Oh, that'd be pretty fun. So now I'm at almost 26,000 subscribers. Nice. And I read the analytics and I see what do people like, what don't they like. I have to like what I do, of course.
100%.
So, and I kind of have a good sense of what the people like to see. And of course, I still play around with it. But my goal is 100,000 subs. Wow. And it's a long ways to go.
So go Brent's Bistro. Go subscribe so that we can help him hit his goal.
Thank you.
That'd be cool, eh? We talk about, you brought up social media, you brought up COVID, and I think, social media can be such a great thing, but it can be such a horrible thing. I noticed the change during COVID being in media, and then the messages would just some of the emails and messages would just, like, they were mean. And, at times they would bother me, and there was even, wasn't that long ago where I opened up my Instagram account to public instead of, needing the request. And this person, whether it was a guy or a girl, who knows, right? Because sometimes people hide behind their profiles and don't put up their picture, just went off about when I was in Saskatoon. Nobody in Saskatoon misses this douchebag. And he went off on like 3-4 different pictures before I'm like, I'm putting this back to private. And it, I think it shows my growth where, a few years ago, I would have like confronted him, I would have messaged him, it would have bothered me. I was able to laugh it off and be like, how sad is it that I haven't lived in a place for almost 15 years and that person's hanging on to that anger and that hate? I know that you get snide comments on your content as well. Yeah. How do you deal with it?
Sometimes I ignore. I sometimes would think, okay, how do I push back? And I don't want to get into a fight with the person, so I just say a smart-ass comment. Usually it's, sorry, chef, or, sorry, this isn't working for you, or maybe, I think the harshest I ever got was, maybe social media isn't for you, or, it was just kind of not catty, but kind of. Yeah. And also, I find that sometimes if you engage with people, it helps drive views. Yeah. Is that the goal? And I understand too, a lot of time, it's funny too, North America sometimes, social media is just roasting people, dunking on people. Yeah. I get it, that's fine. I find international audiences, not so much. It's more supportive comments. So it's commenting on social media, like reacting to them kind of depends on my mood. I sometimes will just get up and kind of walk around a bit and think, what would be a funny thing for me to say here?
Taking your time with it, not reacting instantly.
But not to sound like a jerk responding to, but just to kind of, I've made my point. And I'll sit and think about it and send it off. And usually you don't hear back. Sometimes they'll respond and then I just, I don't worry about that.
Yeah, I found, especially when I was in media, if I got an email or what have you, I would respond in kind. Be like, oh, I really appreciate your comment, and like thinly veiled in sarcasm or smart assery. But it would either open them up to apologize or you'd never hear from them ever again, right? And you can sometimes turn it around and win them as a fan, right? Because, I think sometimes too is what people use social media is for venting, right? I'm having a crappy day. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm going to take it out on Brent. Oh, I didn't like Brent's bistro today. So I think sometimes it's that combination of, and you mentioned it, just taking a beat for yourself to figure out how you'd like to respond. Or what I used to do is, and I still do, is I like to put myself in their shoes because I've had shitty days too.
And they just might be having a bad day.
And they might be having a bad day.
Sometimes I find a smart-assy response is, you seem mad.
Right.
And
okay?
See where it goes. So, and I've had a couple where they actually will respond and say, you know what? It was 2 a.m. I was not in a good spot. But at the end of the day, those social media comments, I don't really care. It's their life, not mine.
I used to get really hurt when a friendship would end. Ever since I was a kid, I'd wonder why and did I do something wrong? What I've learned to appreciate over the years is that whether it's a short-term friendship or a long-term, 30 years like Brent and I, there's value in all of it. You can offer them something and they can offer you something, and you can take those and use it down the road. So it doesn't matter if it's for a week, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 30 years, there's value in every friendship. You just have to look for it and appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to click and subscribe. And remember, weathering it can change the forecast.